There is a very specific, quiet exhaustion that comes from being the person who analyzes every word, questions every motive, and anticipates every betrayal long before it ever happens. Society loves to slap a neat little label on you. They say you have trust issues. People tell you that you're too cynical, too guarded, too difficult to get close to. They assume you actually enjoy this. They look at you and think you take pride in being the untouchable stoic, sitting high up in a stone fortress of your own making, locking the world out by choice. They are entirely wrong. You aren't cold. You aren't trying to be mysterious. You are just profoundly, relentlessly exhausted. For a hyper-analytical mind, trust is not a warm, organic emotion. Trust is a tactical vulnerability. It is a calculated surrender of control. And your brain flat out refuses to surrender because it operates on a perpetual high-frequency threat radar that simply does not come with an off switch. While average people are casually enjoying a conversation, your mind is running aggressive background checks in real time. You are decoding their micro-expressions. You are measuring the slight, almost invisible shifts in their tone of voice. You are calculating the exact probability and the timeline of them eventually letting you down. You weren't born with this paranoia. You engineered this architecture. You built these massive defensive walls because, at some point in your past, turning off that radar and blindly leaning on someone else cost you entirely too much. The emotional damage was simply too expensive. So you learned the ultimate survival rule. The only variable you can absolutely control in this world is yourself. You stopped trusting people not out of malice or bitterness, but out of a biological necessity for safety. Let's strip away the poetry for a moment and look at this purely through the lens of logic, because that is exactly how your brain operates. You don't navigate the world on gut feelings or blind faith. You operate on historical data. Over the years, your mind has evolved into a highly sophisticated risk assessment supercomputer, constantly calculating the variables of human interaction. And when it comes to trusting other people, the math simply doesn't add up. In the adult world, trust is not a magical leap of faith. It is an investment of your finite emotional and mental energy. And your brain has meticulously logged every single time you made that investment. It has reviewed the data of your past, and it has reached a cold, undeniable conclusion. Relying on others yields a consistently negative return on investment. Think about the practical application of this in your professional or daily life. Society is always telling you to delegate, to ask for help, to share the load. But what actually happens when you do? You hand over a task, hoping for a moment of relief. Instead, what you receive is a masterpiece of mediocrity. Now, not only do you have to spend your own energy fixing their mistakes, but you also have to manage the exhausting social friction of pretending you aren't entirely disappointed. The equation is broken. Your brain realizes that it is biologically cheaper and statistically safer to simply stay awake until 3 a.m. and do it perfectly yourself. But this algorithmic thinking doesn't stop at the workplace. It bleeds into your deepest emotional architecture. Think about the times you truly let your guard down, the times you handed someone the blueprint to your vulnerabilities and said, "Here, hold this." What was the return on that emotional investment? Perhaps your truth was weaponized against you in an argument months later. Perhaps it was met with hollow, rehearsed empathy that made you feel even more isolated than if you had stayed silent. Or perhaps they simply slowly walked away when the weight of your reality became too inconvenient for them to carry. Your brain recorded that deficit. It logged the exact, agonizing cost of that emotional damage. So now when someone looks at you and says, "You can trust me," your mind doesn't hear an invitation for connection. It hears a potential liability. It sees a risk that your nervous system cannot afford to underwrite. Extreme self-sufficiency isn't some arrogant badge of honor you wear to feel superior to others. It is a calculated defense mechanism. It is the only mathematical equation your mind has found that guarantees your structural integrity won't be compromised. You isolate not because you hate people, but because your energy reserves are critically low, and isolation is the only state where you don't bleed. But the true exhaustion of trusting no one doesn't come from the past. It comes from the relentless, suffocating real-time processing of the present. People often ask you why you can't just relax, why you can't just take people at face value and enjoy the moment. They don't understand that for you, face value does not exist. When you walk into a room, you don't just see people. You do a complete, instantaneous download of the environment. You operate with a traumatic superpower, a built-in psychological scanner that reads every micro-expression, every subtle hesitation, every forced smile. While others are listening to the words being spoken, you are entirely focused on the discrepancy between what they say and what their body language screams. response. You notice the slight drop in their tone when a specific subject is brought up. You see the brief, fleeting glance they shoot at someone else before they answer a question. You recognize the generous favor that is actually a calculated down payment for a future demand. You read the subtext of every single interaction, and because of this, you are cursed to see the hidden motives before they even fully form in the other person's mind. This hypervigilance isn't a parlor trick. You didn't develop this scanner to be clever. You built it in your formative years, perhaps in a chaotic childhood home or during a devastatingly toxic relationship, because anticipating the shifting moods of volatile people was the only way to stay safe. You had to learn to read the room perfectly, because failing to read the room meant you were going to get hurt. But here is the devastating cost of that clairvoyance. When your scanner is always running, it becomes impossible to believe in genuine goodness. When someone offers you a compliment, your brain instantly searches for the manipulation. When someone offers to help you, you immediately calculate the invisible debt they are trying to attach to you. Because your mind was trained in a war zone, it now treats every act of kindness as a concealed trap. You cannot trust anyone, because your brain fundamentally believes that if it stops scanning for the knife in the dark, that is exactly when it will strike. You are trapped in a state of permanent psychological surveillance, exhausted by a superpower you never actually asked for. Let's face the devastating truth. Your plan worked perfectly. Your defensive architecture holds firm. Your walls are flawlessly constructed, and your surveillance radar is undefeated. No one can ever get close enough to surprise you. No one will ever betray you again. No one will ever have the opportunity to hurt you. You have successfully engineered a life with zero liability. You have achieved absolute safety. But as you sit there, on your throne of cold, analytical logic, a realization begins to dawn on you in the dead silence of that fortress. The exact same steel door you built to keep the betrayal out has also kept the relief from getting in. You may be perfectly secure. You are perfectly undefeated, but you are also perfectly alone. You are the undisputed king of an empty castle, ruling over a kingdom of dust. Your safety does not feel like peace. It feels like a heavy, suffocating numbness. You built the perfect fortress to protect your heart, and now you are the only prisoner in it. Welcome to the cognitive abyss. If this file resonated with your silent reality, subscribe to stare back into your own void. File 08 is loading.